and they're going to lower their wages.
Mike Sabin.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'll pick up on the point from the previous member immediately. Quite the opposite, actually. This is about a government that actually backs these young people and is prepared, Mr Chair, to ensure that the environment for them to be given a chance exists. And, Mr Chair, I want to come to part two, the transitional provisions, which there's one important point I want to make there, but I just want to just comment briefly on some of the points that have been lobbed across the floor. Mr Chair, people would think that this bill is, according to the opposition, nothing more than rich capitalist bosses exploiting poor workers and displacing them, Mr Chairman, and that is entirely inappropriate and simply not the case. And it was raised by the member Darian Fenton around what are the incentives for young people in this equation? Or the incentives are that the boss somehow will be pocketing this extra money. Where are the incentives for the young people? Well, the incentives for the young people are that the opportunity that they've been looking for will be presented to them more actively. And this was something that was resonated to me by a constituent last week when I was out working on a kumara farm, Mr Chair, harvesting a few kumaras, taking them through the packing shed, packing some of those sweet delights, and talking with that employer who employs up to 1,000 people on a casual basis through the cropping season, Mr Chair, and the importance of the right settings for him to be able to employ casual workers who would otherwise be sitting on a benefit and not have that opportunity. At $15 an hour, Mr Chair, he said he wouldn't be making $1 at $16 an hour. He would be out of business, and 90% of the country's kumaras are grown in Dargaville, and that is a very good example of the reality versus the sort of socialist ideology that employers are out there to get rich at the expense of the poor worker. This is about getting those settings right, Mr Chairman, and this is not a bill about creating jobs. This is a bill that provides the appropriate economic settings around the relationship between the employer and the employee. What we are doing to create jobs, because that seems to have been something that's entertained the opposition, is a range of economic strategies and policies, a business growth agenda that I think is quite unprecedented. It's a language that the opposition don't really understand, so I'm probably wasting my breath across the other side of the House. But quite simply, Mr Chair, they cannot stand there and oppose all those moves and then turn around and say, oh, but there's no jobs. And I can rest assured, members on the other side of the House, that the jobs are there, and this is about meeting employers and employees in the middle with the opportunities. And just coming to part two, Mr Chairman, in terms of the transitional provisions, I think it's important to note that where someone is captured in the transitional part of this bill and its entry as an act into the workforce, that those who start on the that are caught in the middle, if you like, Mr Chairman, will get the higher of the two positions, which ensures that they are not penalised through that transition period, because there obviously will be a transition where some, because this is a bill that would have employees working at this rate for 6 months, so there will be that period, and the part two simply covers off the importance of that, getting that transitional balance and the ingredients right. And I think in subsection 2, 1A, 2A and 2B, it quite clearly states that the better of the two will be available to the employee. Mr Chairman, this bill in itself is something for many people, certainly in my electorate, and for the constituents, both employers and employees, that raise with me the real anxiety that they feel in a tight labour market, that the opportunities are not there. This bill provides a platform to ensure that they are given a chance. And the idea that a 16-year-old will displace someone who's been in the workforce for 8 or 10 years in their mid-20s, that has developed a good work ethic, that has developed skills and experience to that business, that somehow they will be displaced by a 16-year-old is an absolute nonsense.
I call Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I want to start by commenting on Clause 7, Part 2.